James Lynch and Adam Martin here for Spectation Sports, and we're going to be previewing a really awesome regional card coming up here this Saturday. Showcase MMA 25 going down at the Thomas Creek Brewery in Greenville, South Carolina. Sounds awesome. Adam, how are you?
Doing great, James. Glad to be back here at Spectation, break down the fights with you, my friend. Always love talking about regional MMA. Like I say, James, these could be the stars of tomorrow. You never really know. Like you got to get a start somewhere, and the fighters start in the regional circuit. And we do have a couple. I think we have a couple blue chip prospects we're going to be talking about today. So looking forward to talking about these fights with you, my friend.
And let's start first with someone that we have been pretty familiar with here on Spectation Sports. Joshua Oxendine going to be back in action, taking on Dusty Little. Dusty Little stepping up on short notice to take this fight. Adam, your thoughts on the fight? I'm kind of looking at this as a bounce back for Oxendine. What are you thinking?
Yeah, he did actually lose his last fight, James, at another promotion, but he had won 3 straight before that. Listen, he's 7-5. I get it, right? But the thing is, he's improved, man, because he started his career with 3 straight losses. Since then, he's 7-2. So really, I think he's improved. If you look at actually, James, his first career loss was in CES against Jordan Lugo, who's in Bellator's top 10 now. So yeah. I think Joshua has improved since then. Again, coming off the loss. But here's the thing. If you look at Josh throughout his career, bouncing around weight classes, I think 135 is his right weight class, James. I think he's got the right weight class. And I do expect a bounce back fight here. Dusty Little, only one professional fight. Not much experience. The guy he lost to in his debut, Robbie Ring, that's a guy we'll probably be talking about in a future podcast, James, because he is a good prospect from the Airy Fight Series. I just look at this fight as Oxendine bouncing back, like you said, man. And, Little, only the one pro fight, but as an amateur, he got finished quite often.
Yeah.
I think he gets stopped here, man. I think Oxendine probably takes him down, ground and pounds him, or maybe he gets his neck and submits him. I like Oxendine to win the fight.
I do as well. Again, Oxendine's a guy that they've been trying to build up for a while. There's a lot of implications of him getting a win here, maybe a contender series spot. We'll see, because he's been putting the time in on the regional scene. You mentioned it there. He lost to Dave Morgan in his last fight. He was 5-9. Not a good loss on the resume, but again, like Adam mentioned, bantamweight's probably the best weight class for him at this point. He had a 3-fight win streak prior to that. I know he's been tagging McMahon and all this, wanting to get on a UFC card, but obviously the last fight kind of showed that he needs a little bit more work there. But I think Dusty Little's the opponent to do that against. That pro debut that Little had, he lost in 40 seconds by submission. Joshua Oxendine has a lot of submission victories. I think this is tailor-made for him to go as well. They have a common opponent, Adam. I don't know if you know this, Randall Austin Jr. Both of them got submitted by him. So we'll see if one is improved over the other here. But when it comes to experience, that definitely is Joshua Oxendine in spades. I think he gets a second-round submission in this one, bounces back, and then we start talking about him potentially being on the contender series as he builds momentum yet again. So we're both going Joshua Oxendine in this fight. Okay, I love this main event. Hannah Rockala, spoke to her yesterday. She is fired up. She had a lot of injuries. She's been out of the cage for a while. Came back earlier this year, fought in Amsterdam, actually last month, and now she's back here with this fight for Showcase. Really good main event. She's 10-1 as an amateur, and she's going to be taking on a tough opponent here who's 5-1, Hainite Tutupo. She is solid. I was watching some stuff on her as well. She's coming off a TKO loss in her last fight, but she's taken on a fight in Hannah, who, like I said, only has a couple fights since that long layoff. Adam, how are you looking at this fight?
Yeah, it's interesting. And also, on Hannah's Instagram, she said she's 12-1 as an amateur. So I'll give her those extra wins, because I thought it was 10-1 too, according to Tapology, right? So we'll give her those extra 2 wins, James. The point is, she's been around a while. We've heard her name for a while. Obviously, used to be formerly known Hannah Scoggins, so we've heard the name for a long time. And now that she's back here in Showcase, I expect her to win this fight, man. It's an atomweight fight, 105 pounds, which is interesting because she has fought at 115 as well, which obviously is a UFC weight class. I think we'll see her in the UFC one day. I'll say that right now. I think she's very talented, man. So, watching footage on her, James, great striker, as we know. Great kicks. Good power in her hands. And not only that, James, but she actually does have a decent ground game too. Submission victories, nasty triangles I've seen it with her. She's really good, man. Good conditioning. She can go 3 hard rounds. Trains at Revolution Mixed Martial Arts. Great gym down there in Greenville. She's in her hometown, James. Let's be honest. This is a fight for her to win. But I'll say this. I didn't know much about Hainite before this fight. I didn't really know much about her at all. Dude, she's a scrapper, man. This is going to be a great fight, I think. This is the kind of fight that I think Hannah needs. She's going to get an opponent who's very scrappy. She did lose her last fight by knockout. It was a slam knockout. It happens, I think she's overall pretty good, man, for what I've seen. She's there for 3 rounds. She's got good cardio, good conditioning. She's going to push a high pace. But at the same time, James, I think there is a level difference in the striking here. I think Raquel is a much better striker, I would say, even though the other girl's really tough. I think it's going to be a decision, James, but I'm going to go Raquel by decision.
Yeah, I think I think Hannah is someone that for a while we've been hearing her name, and she's wanted to make that pro debut. She talked about that in the interview, that the pandemic hits, injuries hit. She's been off for a while, but I think her record is 13-1. It says 10-1, but I think it's because she had a couple fights down there in Amsterdam that I don't know if they counted all of them. Either way, she's got a lot more experience than her opponent, so that right there is a plus. Her only loss as an amateur was to Sam Hughes, who just won last week in the UFC. Exactly. She also has a pretty good win over Elle Wagman, who's the fiance of Grant Dawson, another really solid regional fighter who's now done an American Top Team. Hannah's also finished half of her opponents, and I also like the fact that she did fight last month. She doesn't look like she's slowing down, and to be able to fight so close to this fight, I think is a benefit as well. I think she's riding that momentum. But saying that, we've seen this before, when you're a hometown fighter, when you're in the main event, when you're expected to win, that's a lot of pressure to deal with. So can Hannah rise and take advantage of this opportunity? I think she can. But can Hanite go out there and potentially get an upset? I think it's possible too. But the safe pick here, I think, is Hannah to get it done, just with the experience, the level of opposition, and just the fact that I think we're really seeing her come into her own as a fighter as well. And she's still 24. Like, it's crazy. Like, I remember hearing about her when she was in her early 20s, and now here she is still doing quite well. And you don't, honestly, Adam, you don't see amateurs with that many fights. I think when she does make that move to pro, and again, not looking past Saturday, I think she's going to be more than prepared to get that pro debut. So that'll be good. So again, if you're in the area, if you're anywhere near the Thomas Creek Brewery in Greenville, you got to go to this event. This is the future of MMA. You don't want to be missing that. But if you can't make it, Spectation Sports is your home. We are showing the future of MMA. Make sure you don't miss this one. For myself, for Adam Martin, hope you guys enjoyed the fights this weekend. Again, the future of MMA is at our disposal right here. It's great. We're looking forward to it. Hope you guys do too. We'll see you next time.